Запрошуємо до слова.
Now the floor is given to Colonel Oleksandr Motuzyanyk, Ministry of Defense of Ukraine spokesperson on NATO-related issues. Good afternoon, everyone. During the last 24 hours, the forces of the occupiers continued intensive shellings of the positions of the armed forces of Ukraine using prohibited artillery systems, tanks, mortars, and weaponry of IFVs. And they openly demonstrated disregard to any agreements on the eve of the New Year and Christmas ceasefire. And the enemy tried to cause maximum losses among our forces. And due to successful countermeasures, Ukrainian forces continue to control the situation in the ATO zone and, as always, are ready to adhere to ceasefire, including during holidays. Now the situation about the last 24 hours in more detail. The Lugansk sector, Russian occupation forces delivered 8 shellings of Ukrainian positions, and despite low number, these were blatant and barbaric actions of the criminals that do not adhere to law and the principles of humanity. And the enemy delivered fire from one sector to another and continuously supported the tension in the area. In the morning, the enemy delivered shelling near Zaitsevo. This shelling was delivered for an hour with the use of tank, 120mm mortar, and weaponry of IVF. And the fire with the same types of weapons was restarted during second part of the day. And in the evening, the enemy shifted the focus at its firing provocations and used 120mm mortars, IFVs, and infantry weapons against positions near Lugansk and Travneva. Starting at 9 p.m. and until the end of the day, forces of the occupiers were active in the regions of Oleksandr, Dar, and Troitska. Here, the enemy used large caliber mortars, artillery systems of 122mm of caliber, weaponry of IFVs, and grenade launcher fire. Ukrainian forces clearly understand the aim of these provocations delivered by the enemy, and only once they organized the activity to suppress firing of the enemy, and they used exclusively service infantry weapons. The Donetsk sector here, the situation was more tense. Russian occupation forces violated ceasefire in this sector 14 times. And during the night until 8 in the morning, ATO forces in the region near Pisky was shelled by the enemy with the use of tank, and the enemy launched 20 projectiles and 60 mines, 120mm mines, and also the enemy delivered precision fire near Lebedinska and Vodyane with the use of mortars of 120mm of caliber, and during the afternoon the enemy launched 25 mines there, and also the situation was tense on the approach to Avdiivka. During the day there was intensive fire delivered by the enemy with the use of infantry weapons of different types, and the battle clash was during dark hours and ended in shelling delivered by the enemy with the use of 120 and 82mm mortars. And late in the evening, the same mortar systems from the other side of the line were delivering disturbing fire near Pishevik and Pavlopil, and the unit of the armed forces of Ukraine adequately and efficiently returned fire with the use of firing impact means that they have. So during the last 24 hours along the line of confrontation, the enemy delivered 22 precision shellings at the positions of the armed forces of Ukraine, and 12 times Ukrainian servicemen returned fire with the use of weaponry that is not prohibited by the Minsk agreements. In the result of military actions, Ukraine One serviceman of Ukraine was killed near Stary Aidar in artillery shelling, and one more serviceman was wounded near Avdiivka, and one more serviceman was wounded near Zaitsevo. Now, the wounded are provided with all necessary assistance. Our hearts go out to the family and relatives of our hero who gave his life for better future of Ukraine. Eternal glory and memory to our hero. Ukrainian side of Joint Center on Control and Coordination of Issues related to the ceasefire regime and the stabilization of the situation informs that in Minsk, in the course of regular meeting of trilateral contact group, they adopted a decision concerning comprehensive, sustainable and definite ceasefire regime starting midnight 23rd of December 2017 in connection with Christmas and New Year holidays. Our detachment in the region of ATO fully adhere to the Minsk agreements and are ready to carry out measures to support ceasefire regime along the line of contact, and in case of threat to lives and health of local residents, military personnel of the armed forces of Ukraine, or in case of provocative actions delivered by illegal armed groups or the attempt to change the line of contact, Ukrainian forces will be ready to use weapons. And also, according to the reconnaissance data of ATO headquarters, Russian occupation forces that mask themselves, disguise themselves as legal armed formations, they have intention not only to deceive the international observers, but also the Kremlin curators. They accumulated hidden stocks of ammunition, 2 artillery systems, and heavy weapons and small arms along the line of confrontation in the hottest areas. And these arsenals, without doubt, are organized to provide provocations in order to discredit Ukrainian armed forces. Legal armed formations do not want to abandon their blatant actions, and this is the evidence of this is the use of sniper weapons, and precision sniper fire was delivered at the defenders of Krymska and in Luganshina, and that was delivered from the occupied Sokolniki village and was supported by shelling with large caliber small arms and grenade launchers. On the eve of the New Year holidays, officers of Group of Civil and Military Cooperation from Svetlodarsk greeted kindergarten children in Lugansk village and provided them with gifts. The officers of civil and military cooperation groups help children in kindergartens and in schools and at the line of who live in the settlements near the line of confrontation, and also in one of the units of armed forces of Ukraine, officers of civil and military cooperation group provided gifts from volunteers from Lviv and Vinnytsia, and servicemen were provided with camouflage nets, costumes, hygienic means, drawings of children's fruit, and also defenders thanked volunteers for their support. Thank you.